Morning time, morning time. Everybody know it's morning time. Today's the 30th of December. We have like 48 hours left in the year 2024. And boy, what a year was it. We had racial division. We had one of the biggest elections ever on the planet Earth go down, which felt like a fight between good and evil. And most importantly, we got to see what America was really made of. And that part right there was the tipping point for me. Okay. America is definitely not a monolithic state or country. There are thousands of different opinions, and what blows my mind the most, they're trying to take those multiple opinions, lifestyles, and personalities and fit them into two different categories, which are Republican and Democrat. And that two-party system seems to be failing us horribly. And it's time for a change of guards, And no, I don't have all the answers, and I don't even have a portion of the answers, to be, completely honest with you. It just seems like a very convoluted and confusing way of going about things, but it is what it is. So, I don't really like to get into politics or even anything like that, but this is kind of like a wrap-up for the year, but not a wrap-up for the year, if that makes sense. Because my wrap-up for the year is going to be very short and sweet. We're going to talk about people that made the biggest impact in my life, things that have changed, and the 5 lessons I've learned in 2024. That's it. Nothing crazy. Nothing over the top. The video may be 2 minutes long because it really doesn't take that long to do something like that. I don't want to drag it on and have everybody sitting there wanting to scroll to the next video. That's what you don't want. The algorithm doesn't want you to do that. Speaking of algorithm, it is cold out here. Alright, it's so cold. I had to put the beanie on. Speaking of algorithms, which is completely subjectless, but it seems like she is trying to replace the notion of God. And hear me out. I don't agree with it, but I think that people succumb and submit to the algorithm more than they submit to our creator now. Because if you really think about it, camera wobbling. If you really think about it, when things don't go right on the internet for somebody, I gotta move the camera. Speaking of the algorithm, I think the notion of the algorithm is trying to replace God. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm not saying that I agree with it. Not even in the least bit am I saying that I agree with the algorithm has a capability of replacing God. All I'm saying is this: when we do something on the internet and it does not get the response, which in turn gives us the feeling that we're looking for, we adjust to where the algorithm gives us the praise that we want and need, which is in my eyes very peculiar. We rely on our dose of dopamine from the algorithm. If it doesn't work out, we go on, try to do something new. Even pastors do that. You know, they do things based off of the reaction that people give them and how the algorithms allow them to spread their message. And if they don't do it right, what they do, I'm not talking about just pastors right now or anybody religious, what they do, they will either fake the likes or they'll promote the video to get it to where they want it to be, which in my eyes kind of sounds like a sacrifice, right? That sounds like how back in the days where, in the biblical days, where when we didn't get the things that we wanted, you know, from God, we made a sacrifice. We we stabbed a goat, or, you know, put a pigeon in a chokehold until it, you know, cease to live. I don't know. So I want you to think about that. So anyway, what am I doing today? I'm literally on my way to pay my rent. Usually, you know, just like everybody else, you do it online. But I have to go to a couple of other places first because my bank account is locked due to somebody doing some underhanded, nefarious stuff on my account. So I gotta wait a day or two before they unlock it and do their little investigation, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm trying out a new setting on my GoPro, which is cinematic mode. I just want to see what it's like. Basically, cinematic mode, from what I've read, is 60 frames per second, which makes it a lot smoother, and it will look like, for those that are older like me, it will look like the soap operas of the early 90s or early 90s, late 80s. So I remember those soap operas. I don't remember any other names, but I don't remember any other people. If I see them, it'll probably help me jog my memory. But for the most part, the soap operas was something that kids were not into. It was just stupid little... That was the day, at the time, that was like the social media. We've seen all our scandal. We've seen all our, you know, mitigated gall that people had back then on those shows. Like, I think one was called Days of Their Lives, and there was another one, I think, about Texas, about some oil tycoon or something like that. I'm pretty sure there was more, but I remember Days of Our Lives more than anything else because that stupid soft song that sounded like something you hear in the elevator came on when a show came on. And they had those one scenes where they'll show the actor and then they'll kind of turn towards the camera and smile. Everything back then reminded me of a Sears catalog. If you think about it, it reminds me of like a Sears photo shoot. Like, everyone had to have their left shoulder pointed towards the camera and turn and do that one little cheesy ass dead people smile. Was there any black people on that show? I don't know. I'm gonna look it up on YouTube to see if I can find a black face on that show. If it was a black person on that show, he was a service worker. I guarantee you the person was somebody that was in the background delivering food or cleaning somebody's house or something like that. So I just left the gym, and it wasn't an exercise. I left because I had to pay off some debt there. I haven't been to the gym since I got that car accident happen. And apparently if you don't go to the gym, they still charge you, and they charge you a handsome fucking amount. Didn't know that. They're like, since you didn't come, we're gonna charge you $80-something a month. Blew my mind. But anyway, I got one more thing to do. I'm going across the street to the IKEA where I met the love of my life. And I am going to buy a knife because for some fucking reason, excuse me for cursing, for some reason, my knife came up completely missing that I've been having half of my life. I've been having this knife since I was in my 20s, and all of a sudden it's nowhere to be found. That makes no sense. It's not like people use knives on the outside of the kitchen or anything like that, but for some reason I can't find my damn knife. Now I gotta go spend a couple of $100s on a new knife because I really like quality. You know, if I can find one cheaper, I will buy one cheaper, but for the most part I'm really into quality, so we'll see. Anyway, the video is about to end now, so thank you.